Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, I made it up tonight, and I got a lot to talk about. Some videos to show. The battles, the battlegrounds. They're in the courtrooms and the media right now. I think Trump cleaned up the battlefields for the most part in the political end of it, in the House and Senate, as far as identifying, if not outright removing, who needed to go. And on the bureaucratic deep state, that toilet got flushed somewhat. So they're reduced to having to fight things out in a courtroom as their levers of power have been broken off in many times, many instances, and in the political sphere. And we'll see how it goes. Subversion takes many forms. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing okay tonight. Now I want to see who's come in tonight. That's a picture up there. Ron DeSantis, he keeps doing what he's doing. There's a meme in this picture somewhere. I haven't figured it out yet. There's a meme. I got this off of, I think it was Don Jr. or even Mr. T. Hi, Damon. How you doing? Let me see who all's in here. Keep my chats down. Hi, Quilt. Diane. Hi, Donna. B-Dog. Ingrid. Doc. How you doing? Mary. Melinda. Randy. Angel Faley. How you doing? Nice to see you. Debbie. How you doing? Joan. Everybody's jumping in. Miss Mendersu. Hi, Marla. She's got 2 cups of coffee there, bracketing my name. Henri gave me a thumbs up. All right. If you all don't mind, give me a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm spread the video around so we can make more friends and get the word out as to what's going on. But like I said, I don't know if you all can think of what kind of meme this would be. It looks kind of like they're singing a duet. But there's Ron DeSantis calling us listless vessels, just like what's-her-face was calling us deplorables. Susie, how you doing? How you doing? And Deborah, Awakened Trillium. Kim, how are you doing? I hope I've gotten everybody. If I missed somebody, I apologize. Now, I got this, I think, off of Snafu Radio. I don't know how true this is, but spread it around anyway. Here's a meme of Alvin Bragg. Come on. Nobody worth $42 million dresses like that. Nobody worth $42 million looks like that. But anyway, maybe he does. $42 million net worth has grown 300% in the last 5 years. He owns 12 properties, 8 cars, and 3 luxury yachts. How did Dan Bragg become so wealthy? Hard work, I'm sure. Hard work. But anyway, I just thought I'd put it up there and see what you all thought of that. Well, now we don't know, it hadn't been really verified. But in response to this little thing with Ron DeSantis calling us listless vessels, this is a meme that you can put in your quiver and share it around. Obama calls us clingers. Clinton calls us deplorables. Biden calls us dregs of society. The media calls us RACISTS. And DeSantis calls us listless vessels. Trump calls us Americans. Yeah, I saw the picture, Diane. I got it in my studio of Mr. Fetterman. So everybody, as Bernie, my friend Bernie on Truth and Art TV said, let the conspiracy theories begin. Where's he at? Here he is. Let me get him on the screen. There you go, Breitbart. Photo. Senator John Fetterman nearly unrecognizable with mustache after losing a bet. Yeah, somebody lost a bet John Fetterman revealed his facial hair. I didn't get into the article, but there he is. If you want to get a screenshot of it and compare it to other things. You know, I tell you what, it's difficult with a mask to shape the skull, how the skull is shaped. So, hi, Nikki. How you doing? So, anyway, there he is. If you all want to get a screenshot and compare it to things you've seen in the past, you know, of course, he's lost a barrel of weight and half his brain's fried in his head, but I don't know what that could do. I'm gonna play some clips while I got a good signal. Let me get that mess off there, so I got room to put up some clips. Do you remember this here? Always making excuses for people. AOC on why people loot in 2020. Let's hear what she has to say.
And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Oh, okay. They're hungry. They gonna shoplift some bread so they can eat. Okay. Well, here's some people. They're hungry. They don't have another choice. Here we go. You'll see how they do. Hungry people.
Say hi to the camera. Look at this shit. What the fuck is this?
Look at them. They're starving. Starving to death.
Handicap parking. Let's get the license plate down. What's your name, man? What's your name? Dude, crazy.
Those poor things, you know, they had to go out and get some bread. Here's somebody else that's starving. Right here. Starving to death. This is where the CVS's or Rite Aids or whatever, they put these locks and plastic covers on the door. This guy just takes a blowtorch to the covers, and the people that work there, all they can do is stand there and videotape. No food items. All cold medicine and stuff they can cook into meth or whatever it is that they scrounge out of there. So I just thought I'd play a couple of videos there to show you what is going on. And I think, though, that the Truth and Reconciliation Act is being enforced, is being eased upon us. Mr. T put out, hell is freezing over. Jake Tapper admits Trump was right, Biden was wrong. I had a clip of that, and I've got one now. They reposted that had better volume. The first clip they put up, I don't care what you did to it. I don't care how you videotaped it. You could not get the volume to work. And I've discussed my thoughts on that. But anyway, let me show you this clip. Trump put out this right here. CNN says Trump was right. Joe Biden was wrong. Are pigs flying? So it's fuzzy, but anyway, I'll put it where you can get all the thing there in case some of you might be able to screen grab the video. I don't know. So if you can, you're free to use it.
Kristen, Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
China.
Once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong.
Well, in the longer clip I had, he started saying stuff like, well, maybe it was that Biden had a blind side and he just didn't see what was going on, making excuses for him, because that is part of the illegal psychological warfare campaigns that they've been running against us, is to come up with terms like that, like a driver that hit something. He didn't see it because it was in his blind spot, his blind spot. That's what you kept hearing from Jake Tapper, but I couldn't get that video to play to save my skin. So hi, Rubber Toe. As always, me. How you doing? Hi, Angel. Georgia, how you doing? B. Mitch, how you doing? Haha, nice to see you all. Let me see you all's coming in there to join us. A prototype. How you doing? Hi, Doc. Wanda, how you doing? Yeah, they steal everything but work boots. That's the truth. Hi, Cheryl. So, I can only go so far back in the chats. So I'm glad you all got a chance to show up. And I appreciate everybody who watches this video after the live stream. If you want to leave a comment after the live stream in the hard comments, I enjoy reading them. I try to check out every one of them as they go by. But I'm going to play a kind of a long clip in a little bit that is showing you these illegal psychological warfare campaigns in the media live. But I want to go over a couple things like I talked about. Let me see if I can get through some of this. I talked about, here we got, you see Jake Crapper coming out and dropping little things like Joe Biden was wrong, actually playing the clip where Trump was calling Biden out over 3 years ago, that they have been suppressing. Now they're bringing it out. Now here's another clip about, I know it's only 28 seconds. It's only 28 seconds. Let me see if it comes out. Here it is. But hey, I'll take it. Because remember, I said there was a 12-second clip of Brian Stelter. I said it was amazing. He had a 12-second clip where he said Hunter was an imminent threat of being arrested and being charged. And I played it about a day after he said it. Well, don't you know, a week later, Brian Stelter got fired. I think they were starting to push these outlets to start disseminating the truth. And so anyway, here's only 28 seconds, but this is on Face the Nation. Now, when did you ever think you'd get the truth out of them or any new information out of this bunch?
We turn now to the 2024 campaign, and our new CBS News poll shows former President Trump with his biggest lead yet this cycle, with support of 62% of Republican primary voters surveyed. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has dropped since our last survey. He's now at 16%. And the rest of the field remains in single digits as most of them prepare for the primary debate coming up later this week.
Now, anybody looking at that would wonder, where do they get off trying to make Trump go debate people that are polling with 1%, 3%, 5%? It's absolutely no benefit to him. And I had a clip of Kellyanne Conway's husband, where he was saying it wouldn't do him any good to go. But I just don't like looking at him. So I didn't, he looks like a little hobbit to me, And I know he's, anyway, here's a nice meme. I cut the sound way down because I don't want to get a copyright strike for music, but let me cut my mic off so it'll play smooth for you. A little meme somebody did about Trump and DeSantis. Yeah, I agree. Well, I make us sick with George Conway. So anyway, so when did you ever think you'd see clips like that with them saying how far Mr. T is ahead? But somebody's making them do that, I think. Here's another one that you never thought you'd see. And here it is. This is weird because Jim Acosta is in a lot of these. But I hope the volume is good for this. But this character, I think I might not have played this last week. I don't know. I don't think so. Here, let's see what they got to say.
Look here. This is Quinnipiac University. It was a 2-point race in February. Look where it is now. It's a 1-point race. That's well within the margin of error. But take away one thing from this, and one thing only if you take away only one thing. And that is, I think there are a lot of Democrats who simply can't believe that Donald Trump can be elected president again. The polling indicates that Trump is, in fact, in a stronger position at this point than he was during the entire 2020 campaign, according to the national polls. If we had state-level polling, I wouldn't even be surprised if Trump were ahead in the swing states that are most important, Jim.
Right, and when the race is that close, it comes down to the Electoral College, and who knows what happens with that. We don't even have those kinds of numbers just yet, but from a national standpoint, you're absolutely right. It is remarkable where Trump stands right now when it comes to the rest of this field and with general election voters.
So Jim Acosta's having us sit there and listen to that. I wonder if that's payback. I wonder if that's payback for all the trouble he caused Trump in the press conferences. So before I play this big long clip, I'm going to put this picture up. Do you all remember this press conference? I talked about it where she was in orange, and I have a video clip, but the sound is horrendous, and there's nothing I can do about it. But this is where I was saying that somebody dressed in an orange outfit was on the Democrat side, but was red pilling Americans. This is where they were saying, we need you to turn over your spare bedrooms. Housing is our most imminent and urgent need. So if you've got a basement or a bedroom or a mother-in-law apartment, consider making these people part of your family. So, hey, these people, all of them were looking at her like, are you out of your mind? Except for the one in the black outfit standing to the right. She's nodding a little bit. I don't know. I'll play a very short clip of it. Let me see how I got that in the studio. I'll play a very short clip and see if you can hear what she's saying at the very beginning about spare bedrooms. And you tell me if that is not doing the Democrats one damn bit of good. That is making people realize, hey, wait a minute, this migrant, quote, migrant problem is coming home to roost. So I'll let you try to hear it if you can. It's not very good. There's a lot of background.
Importantly, if you have an extra room or suite in your home, please consider hosting a family. Safe housing and shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Workers Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family, be part of your family. If you're a local official, a college president, a business owner, or a faith leader with an available building or space in your community, please work with us to offer as a shelter site. If you're a social service provider, please consider becoming an emergency assistance homeless shelter provider. Our resources are stretched thin there as well. If you're a hotel or motel owner,
I don't know how that sounds playing for you all. It's hard to hear. If you're a step up, get with your local social service provider, do all this, do all that. It is absolutely insane, but it is making people take the red pill and realize how close things are. Here's a funny video somebody put up. I got this just before I went live. Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Watch this plane as it flies over Rehoboth Beach in Delaware.
Man, this is crazy. This is the Biden active vacation. Welcome to Delaware.
I'll make it bigger so you can see it. It says they're flying over there and they zoom in. What does it say? Prosecute Hunter Biden. So I just got that before I went up live. But what I'm going to play for you, let me see you all coming in the chats. Boy, the sound must have been bad. I had about 20 people drop off. So, hi, Pappy Two Bears. How you doing? Deplorable Chicken Hand, how are you? Nice to see you. Em, how are you doing? Jerry, how you doing? B-Dog said, Dr. Svago flashback. Yeah, that's right. He comes home and they tell him, look, you know, your house is full of strangers and you better like it, because if you don't like it, we can take care of that. So anyway, yeah, Nikki, you're right. Yeah, don't use keywords, folks. Be careful with the keywords. Use numbers instead of vowels. So anyway, here is, I'm going to play this video. Jim Acosta again. But he's talking with Lawrence Tribe. If you remember, he was involved with the Comey situation. But anyway, I talked through the video, but I didn't mention one thing. They mentioned Penn State in there too. Don't forget, they talk about two so-called experts from Penn State. Don't forget. But that's where Biden had a lot of his boxes of classified material he had no business having. But anyway, let me play this for you. I put it on the screen, illegal PSYOP in real time, because that's what it is.
Constitutional scholars Lawrence Tribe and former Judge Michael Ludig write this, quote, the former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election and the resulting attack on the U.S. Capitol place him squarely within the ambit of the Constitution's disqualification clause, and he is therefore ineligible to serve as president ever again. And Professor Lawrence Tribe and Judge J. Michael.
Please remember that the Atlantic is a Marxist rag. And all three of these people up here, you're going to see how they participate in this illegal psychological warfare campaign of misinformation to the American people.
Ludig, join me now to talk about this. Gentlemen, it's a real honor to have you both on at the same time. Thanks so much for doing this. Your argument, just to explain this to our viewers, essentially comes down to these two sentences in the Constitution's 14th Amendment. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president who, having previously taken an oath as an officer of the United States to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. I'm proud of myself, first of all, for getting through all of that without messing that up. But let me go to both of you on this, gentlemen. How is this going to work? Because Donald Trump is not going to say, you got me, I'm disqualified. Judge, I'll let you go first, and then the professor.
Please remember that Donald Trump was never charged with insurrection, and also that the FBI report, headed up by Christopher Wray, stated very plainly that no insurrection occurred. So there's no charges. This is a lie by omission. They're leading their audience to believe that Donald Trump is being charged with these things. And watch how much time each of them spend complimenting each other about how wonderful each other are. It's ridiculous.
Jim, thank you for having us on this afternoon. Professor Tribe is the most celebrated constitutional mind in America, and deservedly so, and he has been that for the past 4 decades. Professor Tribe has been studying the Constitution and even the disqualification clause of the 14th Amendment his entire illustrious career. I first began to think seriously about the 14th Amendment's disqualification clause only 2 years ago in January of 2021. But I quickly came to the same conclusion that Professor Tribe had come to many years before that.
Did he come to that conclusion when he was a suspect in what happened with James Comey's classified notes from a meeting with the president that disappeared? He gave to a Harvard professor that he supposedly deputized just before President Trump fired him, or shortly after President Trump fired him. None of that stuff is being brought up. But anyway, let's continue with this garbage.
And then in the 2 years between January 6th and today, Professor Tribe and I have been discussing the disqualification of clause and the possible disqualification of the former president privately. Article 4th is some magnificent scholarship by Professors Baud and Paulson that is forthcoming in a law review from the University of Pennsylvania.
There's 2 more we got to take a look
Their
at.
monumentally important contribution that they have made is that they have demonstrated that what might have been is not, which is to say this. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment means exactly what it plainly and clearly says, specifically, as you just read.
Yeah.
Any person who previously has taken the oath of office to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and who then engages in insurrection or rebellion against the United States and the Constitution of the United States, shall not thereafter hold, in this instance, the office of the presidency of the United States. That language in the Constitution, Jim, simply could not be any clearer.
Well, here you have a situation where a judge is talking about a former and possibly future president of the United States as if he's already been convicted or is guilty or even charged with insurrection and rebellion. And as an attorney, even in the code of ethics for attorneys, if you can believe something like that exists with the Bar Association, that is not permitted. And Lawrence Tribe, how much money he's been getting? How much money's Harvard been getting? Who participated in the insurrection aiding and abetting Comey. But anyway, let this garbage continue.
It is unmistakable in its application to the former president. The only thing that was not known until Professors Baud and Paulson did their scholarly work is whether this was the actual meaning under the original understanding of the Constitution. And the professors confirmed and demonstrated that indeed it was.
And so, Professor Tribe, an honor to have you on as well. Does that mean that Trump is essentially right now automatically disqualified, that he shouldn't be allowed on ballots and so on?
Jim, what it means, and it's a great honor to be on with the distinguished and
blah, 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 blah,
justly celebrated Judge Ludig. What it means is that secretaries of state or other officials who are responsible for deciding who is qualified and who is not will have to determine whether, despite his obvious attempt to overturn the 2020 election and engage in insurrection, whether despite that, somehow Trump gets to run. Secretaries of state around the country are going to go both ways on that. The red ones may go one way and the blue another, although I would hope that partisan politics wouldn't always determine it. But whichever.
Now you're seeing a future phase of this purple color revolution by excluding a candidate based on a fictitious charge of insurrection.
Where they go, they'll be challenged in court. And that'll end up in the Supreme Court. And what it will have to decide is what this language means. It's pretty obvious what it says. In fact, when it was written, Abraham Lincoln was no longer president. We had a president who didn't believe in the 14th Amendment, Andrew Jackson. They weren't going to rely on him and his Justice Department to decide who should be convicted of insurrection. That's beside the point.
What did he just say?
It's
Who did he
important
just
to
say?
see what happens in all of these, and that'll end up in the Supreme Court. And what it will have to decide is what this language means. It's pretty obvious what it says. In fact, when it was written, Abraham Lincoln was no longer president. We had a president who didn't believe in the 14th Amendment, Andrew Jackson. They were.
Well, there's a constitutional scholar and historian's big screw up. Andrew Jackson was president 20-some years before Andrew Johnson, okay? Mr. Wonderful, brilliant Marxist historian, okay? And, by the way, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and don't you know that Andrew Johnson was the first president to be impeached in the nation's history? Isn't that funny? Get rid of the whole administration. I wonder how that fits into past things with Kennedy, past things with Spiro Agnew and Richard Nixon, giving us presidents we didn't even vote for. So anyway, but this bonehead talking about Andrew Jackson, that shows you how scared they are, because everybody knows Donald Trump looks towards Andrew Jackson's example.
Weren't going to rely on him and his Justice Department to decide who should be convicted of insurrection. That's beside the point. So it's important to see what happens in all of these 91 pending charges of crime against the former president. But whatever happens in those cases, this disqualification, like the disqualification of someone who was not a natural born citizen, or the disqualification of someone who doesn't meet the age limits, has got to be enforced according to its terms. For a very long time, Americans didn't take this seriously. But now that scholars have begun to look at it, and as the judge says, I've looked at it for a long time, it's impossible to disregard. We have a former president who has proudly said that he would terminate the Constitution. That was his...
Has probably said. Did you catch that, folks? Has probably said he would terminate the Constitution. He's saying the Constitution's been trashed already. We're going to restore the Constitution, and that's what characters like this are afraid of.
language. He would terminate it if necessary to hold on to power. How can he say that and take the oath to uphold the Constitution? This is going to end up in the Supreme Court. It's a monumental issue, the most important constitutional issue of our day. And people have got to get used to the fact that whatever happens in these very important trials of the president, under the Constitution's own language, he's simply not eligible to be president again.
That is a bold statement for somebody that isn't even charged with that crime and is supposedly pending a trial, which is supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. And both these characters with law degrees are violating their ethics and their oaths that they swore. But does Lawrence Tribe, all he says is 91 charges, getting all the mouth breathers to say, yeah, 91 charges, no way he's getting out of this one. How about just the one charge? We'll take one charge where Trump truthed out, hey, you should watch OANN. They're having a really good story about what happened with the election. That's a criminal charge. And what they need to be looking at, really, is the things that I put up yesterday and earlier about a malicious prosecution, false arrest, and all the charges that the people involved in this conspiracy are going to be facing. And depending on how much they were involved, both these two on the screen and all the others that are getting rooted out, we'll see how many of them end up Supreme Court, you say? How about a military tribunal? How about a military commission? Okay, since the Constitution is no longer functioning in the manner of which it was intended.
Now, of course, when you asked, is he going to say, you got me? The answer is no, he never says you got me. He won't say that even if he's convicted of all the crimes available. But it's not up to him. Wake up, Mr. Trump. Yeah. It's not up to you. It is up to the Supreme Court of the United States reviewing what the secretaries of state determine, and they take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and the Constitution tells them that an insurrectionist who tried to overturn the country's Constitution cannot be entrusted with protecting it in the future. So stay tuned. This is going to be a saga that lasts between now and the election.
Oh, we're going to stay tuned, and it's going to last past the election, buddy. It's going to go into generations. This story is going to go into generations. And what is the most pressing question is, as far as people who have degrees, like these characters on Midas Crap, Trump's arrest and booking in Georgia jail is imminent. Judge Cannon's baffling move. Oh, I might have to play Master Po again, Master Po on Kung Fu. I might do that. But apparently Judge Cannon in Florida has got them confused. Judge Chutkin to set a trial date and more. This was tonight's show. Watch Legal AF. And so, there's the one character who always hosts the show, trying to act like he's a happy kind of person, smiling, even though every show his hairline recedes from all that soy he's consuming, and his hair is starting to look like pigeon fuzz around a pigeon's behind. But anyway, and he's young too. So I'll get back to these morons in a minute. But what is the question is, with all the ones you saw, everybody you see on the screen now, are you seriously that stupid? Are you that stupid to continue with this farce when the bottom line is the President of the United States had every right to contact governors and secretaries of states when there were serious questions about the validity of the election in their state. He had every right to question them, just like he had every right to question Zelensky about the corruption and what happened to the flipping money that Biden stole before Trump came into office. Okay, so that's what they're trying to impeach him about. And you think the American people can't see through this? Are you seriously that stupid? And the people who can't stand Trump and think that all this stuff is going to go somewhere, are you seriously that stupid? Do you think that our military is going to fall for this garbage? And I know it looks bad. I've got a video I'm going to play it from a woman. I might do a special little short video on Rumble about her, but people are suffering over this. And the willful omission of facts and truths like this here. I talked about this the other night. Biden having a ghost email account and an alias. Bombshell, Biden used pseudonym for Ukraine dealings. Obama's secret VP, Robert L. Peters. Remember I said I had it written down. I read what the name was. Comer demands all comms. And they'll get all the comms. And we will find out. So, yeah. Let's let it roll. Let's get like butter and get on a roll. But here you have these morons again from Midas Crap. Midas Crap. It was a very bad week for Trump, and next week will be worse, with Trump set to turn himself in. The new charges he is facing are the most devastating yet. Join Jessica Denson, I'll put a picture of her up, and Marcus Flowers live for new updates, blah, blah, blah. But here they are. And it says Trump's worst nightmare if you click on it, which I don't do. But these two morons, this sheriff and this attorney general or whatever she is, hey, they're in trouble. They're menacing the president. What a former judge and a Harvard professor are on the air talking about and neglecting to talk about the things we discussed the other night, which is what Fannie Willis, this is from OANN, 2022 Georgia Code, Title 51, Torts, Chapter 7, False Arrest, False Imprisonment, Malicious Prosecution, and Abusive Litigation. Article 3, Malicious Prosecution. Let me get there where if somebody wants to get a screenshot, they get all the letters. Malicious Prosecution, 51-7-40, Right of Action for Malicious Prosecution. That's under Georgia law. But let me tell you, that's under U.S. law also. 11.3 laws of the United States. Torts. I went over that. That's what these people are facing. They're committing crimes in real time. We're watching them. And that that retired judge and Lawrence Tribe from Harvard are aiding and abetting. And they're using the media and people like Jim Acosta for them to do it. But I feel that there is, especially since Jeff Zucker stepped down from his position 2 weeks after two of his biggest producers got arrested, okay, for doing things with little ones, okay? One of them got 20 years, I believe, in jail, and the other one is still hashing out what his sentence is going to be. Hey, they're going down the road for a long time. But ever since then, I believe the Truth and Reconciliation Act is being introduced to the American people with these clips that I just showed you, where they are admitting Trump was right. They're admitting Trump is way ahead in the polls. And we're going to be seeing more of that. And let's not forget about this, what's been coming out. And there's going to be even more coming out. Michelle Obama transformation shocks historian. Mystery unfolds. Yeah, there's that delicate flower standing next to Barack Obama. A lot of people are speculating that she's the one that's going to step in. So we'll see about that, Mike Shell. All right. Yeah, that's right, B-Dog. 6 aliases and 20 shell companies. It's all going to be dug out. And what Trump has predicted is that China is going to drop a dime, and it is going to be such devastating evidence that the Biden administration will not survive it. So anyway, the clip from Newt Gingrich. I've got that. We'll go over that. But let me show you what's next in their operation. We know that from Lawrence Tribe and that other idiot judge, that the next thing they're going to do is try to get Trump disqualified per state through bought off secretaries of state. We'll see how far that goes. But also the next thing in their operation, as a lot of us know, is this situation here. Now, this is an ad I got off of Utizzle. Look what they're selling. Okay, you can get them dirt cheap. All right, they're going to start this garbage up again. Yeah, they're really good. What do they protect you from? I'll tell you what they protect you from. They protect you from cameras, especially if they're a little bit overhead and the visor even blocks your eyes, so you can run around and do what the hell you want, right? No, wait a minute. That's not what they're for. They're to protect you from germs, okay? That's it. Yeah, they're to protect you from germs. So they're going to start doing that again. And here we go with a continuation of an illegal psychological warfare campaign. Let's see. This nitwit here, Lester Holt, the one that's got all that forehead he's got to wash every morning. Wait a minute. Let me get this. And he's the least of the egregious ones. But, it's really sick when you catch what he says at the end. But I'll go ahead and let it play.
COVID is making a comeback this summer, so many of us would like to leave it in the past, but cases are once again on the rise. So when will new booster shots roll out? Ann Thompson asked the CDC director.
This summer, most Americans left COVID in the past, gathering together once again mask-free. But tonight, signs of a COVID resurgence. Across the country, COVID hospitalizations jumped more than 14% in the most recent week, but far lower than pandemic levels. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel.
What's behind this uptick in COVID that we're seeing?
The main driver of this is a variant that's relatively newer to the scene, EG5. It's easier to give and get, so that makes it kind of easier to pass along.
It's been almost a year since the last COVID booster came out. CDC Director Dr. Mandy Cohen.
The new COVID booster is expected to be approved by the FDA, and then we will make recommendations from the CDC probably by the second or third week of September.
Will it protect against this new strain?
Yes. The booster is tailored to what we are seeing circulating now.
Critics say the federal government is behind once again. People knew there was going to be a COVID resurgence. So why don't we have a booster today? Why do we have to wait until next month?
The way we go about doing just like we do with our flu shots, right? We make sure that we're looking at the ways in which the virus changed. They look at and evaluate that. The FDA is doing its work. We likely will see this as an annual COVID shot, just like the flu shot.
Just in time for fall, when we'll also face RSV. Can you take the flu shot, the COVID booster, and the RSV vaccine all at once?
So for flu and COVID, yes. RSV, again, is only available for older adults. That's one where I'd say talk to your doctor about what's right for you.
So until the new COVID booster comes,
I'm just going to interrupt real quick because I had two more T-shirt ideas. One of them is going to be Kiss My Mask, and the other one's going to be Stick It Up Your Mask. But anyway, that's the way I feel about this, and I'm not falling for it again. I never fell for it the first time, but I'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt that did fall for it.
Get prepared. Stock up on at-home tests. They do cover that new strain. Keep a mask handy in case you're in a crowded place. And most of all, get your shots, COVID, flu, and RSV, all by Halloween to give yourself your best chance of staying healthy.
Reminder that COVID never went away.
Did you hear what he said at the end? It never went away. Yeah, well, that's more of the illegal psychological warfare campaign that's going on. More evidence of it. We're walking through history. We just put it on the air to memorialize it. And here you've got former director of national intelligence. Okay, this is from Citizens Free Press. I got I got the synopsis of it, so I didn't have to record the video. John Ratcliffe was on Maria Bartiromo's show, and he came out and said regime media is complicit in the Trump witch hunt. They're all co-conspirators in this. They're all complicit in this, and there is so much at stake. And if it unravels, it's not just political folks that will take the fall on this. He's talking about the media, but I believe he's also talking about these active judges, these retired judges that you saw talking that garbage. When you retire from an important position, federal position like that, you cannot enter. You can if you want to, but you're disallowed. I'll put it that way. From injecting yourself into active cases, especially when they affect national elections and the function of our government. So that retired judge could face after-service discipline, but if he's tied to criminal conspiracy, he can face more than that. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of people that are getting themselves in some deep poo-poo, and we're watching it happen in real time. We're watching them commit the crimes in real time. And I'll tell you that the effects of this, not only we see it and feel it with our friends and family. You can't forget making new friends that have staked their ground against Donald Trump. But even with your close friends and family, there's pressure and stress and aggravation and rock thrown from people that you're supposed to rely on as a friend or family member. But look here, you got this lunatic. Here's a lunatic. Remember this face? I put it up a while back. This is from the Post-Millennial. Canadian woman who tried to KIL President Trump with ricin is sentenced. What the heck is going on here? Is sentenced to 22 years. Ferrier pled guilty on all 9 counts earlier this year. So, hey, they're not letting him walk, I can tell you that. But that's just one tip of the iceberg. And here's some more propaganda that they put out right here. I want to call out the person who did this thumbnail. I want to find out who did this thumbnail to put on YouTube. And if they don't want to take responsibility for it, who instructed you to put this thumbnail up? Trump dares judge to jail him pending trial. I believe this was yesterday I took this screenshot, I believe. When did Trump ever do that? We want answers. So what are you doing putting this kind of garbage out and inciting people and getting these loose-brained liberals excited that something's going to happen to Trump, who they think has done something wrong, and he has done no such thing. So let me scan through here real quick. Here we've got some more evidence of this ongoing media psychological warfare. Media blackout of Biden's use of pseudonyms to hide his communications with Hunter. Minutes of coverage. ABC, CNN, MSNBC, all of them up there. NBC, all of them. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0 minutes of coverage that he was pulling something worse than even Mitt Romney with his Pierre Delecto account. But see, they're, like I said, they're loose-brained. They can't hold a thought. Here you go. Here's one clown. Opinion. Trump's corrupted foreign policy. Coddle the dictator. Abuse the ally. By Max Boot, a columnist. That was in 2019. Well, then, in 2022, opinion. Cut Biden some slack. U.S. presidents have to deal with dictators. So we need to rub this in their face. And that's why Elon Musk has taken away the block feature. Do you remember when Trump was running his Twitter account? There were some brothers that kept on popping up at the top of his feed with the most vile insults, and Trump wasn't allowed to block them. So every time Trump would say something, these Katzenjammer or Katzensteins or whatever their names were pumping out propaganda and crap that 20 years ago would have got them locked up. But, do they have to worry about their door getting kicked in at 6 o'clock in the morning? And when you go, get out of here, help, they shoot you? Do they have to ever worry about that? But anyway, so yeah, the block feature is going to be blocked. You're not going to be able to use it. People can throw this stuff right back in your face, on your feed. And that is what infuriates them. So they're right away starting with the that we're the violent ones, that we're going to come up with some kind of violent act. And here's another one from Midas Crap. I'm telling you, on YouTube, these guys are the premier propagandists. And I'm saying it. I am saying it out loud. And I certainly hope that the ones that have law degrees that are allowing this kind of garbage to get out, what they've been saying about Trump, like I said, lawyers were not even able to advertise back in the 1990s, not that long ago. Now they're putting up this kind of stuff, and if they're taking money from a foreign power or from a non-governmental organization linked to foreign interests like Georgie Porgio's group. So anyway, all because she displayed a pride flag. They're saying a California shop owner was SHOT and KILLD for displaying a pride flag in the window. Well, she got one wrapped around her hat, but never mind that. You're going to tell me that there's crazy people running around California, of all places, and doing that kind of an act. And if it was true, they'd have a picture of that person, just like I showed you, that Canadian assassin that was after Trump. They'd have somebody's names. They would make it a big blow-up story, not where you had to click on a link to go read an article. They would be doing a video about it, and you'd never hear the end of it. So, yeah, but the main thing is that they're getting out that people who are pushing this S3 actualizing of children are somehow victims and need to be protected. So that is another phase of their BS. Here's another one from this. Let me get some of these pictures down from here. From this group of propagandists. I didn't get a chance to crop it down, but it says, Midas Crap. Marjorie Taylor Greene accuses Fannie Willis of RICO crimes in off-the-rails interview. So Marjorie Taylor Greene was probably going up there and reading just the stuff I read to you all earlier. And guess what? She's right. They are involved in RICO crimes. Oh, yes. Thank you, Nikki. This is a viewer-supported, creator-supported channel only. I don't get anything from these platforms because I don't monetize, because I want to be able to say what and do what the subjects I want to say and talk about. So anyway, I got a link in the description to buy me coffee if anybody wants to help an old man out. And I appreciate Gary for helping out last night, sponsoring the show, and everybody that's helped me in the past. I appreciate it very much. Anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene attacks Fannie Willis and says Willis should be indicted on RICO charges, and then says indictments are communism. Well, guess what, you morons? She's right, okay? She's right. Here, I put this on True Social. If somebody wants to put this in their quiver, I'll get rid of some of the background pictures so you all get a clean shot of that. What did socialists use before candles? Electricity. So, so it's true. It's a matter of history. And they don't that's why they put on Truth Social. They don't teach history anymore. They teach crap and garbage. That's French, garbage. So anyway, there you get a good shot of it if you need to get a screenshot. So, they justify violence. They justify a lot of this subversion and counterculture crap that 20 years ago would have landed them in jail. What does it get it? When they normalize. They normalize anti-biblical nonsense. Here's something for you. Somebody with no compunction about human life. This is awful. Here's you say, oh, there's a nice person. She worked in the neonatal unit. Nurse found guilty of murdering 7 premature babies in neonatal unit. LifeNews.com. A British nurse has been found guilty, of red rumming 7 premature babies in a neonatal unit. Lucy Letby, 33, forced air and fluid into one premature boy's stomach. And I won't read the rest of it. But you see what this person is doing. Taking the lives of little ones into their own hands because they worship the creation rather than the creator, okay? They know more. They're the pot telling the potter what to do. So they get arrogant and spiteful, and this is the type of stuff you get. And then they walk around looking like this, okay? And they're supposed to be noble. And then they can do what they want while they've got this on their face. They read about Diogenes in Greek mythology when you don't think anybody can see what you're doing. But hey, we know what's been going on as far as who's been doing what to who. Here's an article right here, a video you can go watch if you want to. Christian coffee shop targeted by communist LGBTQ activists. All right, breaking the windows, graffiti, carrying around signs that if you did that in the Middle East, what do you think would happen to you? But they've been doing it with impunity. They've been targeting pro-life centers. They've been beating preachers up out in the street. And we all know about the Summer of Love, right? Anyway, this update on Hurricane Hillary, because that's going to be story tomorrow. Hillary makes landfall, destroying over 30,000 emails. Hillary makes landfall, 33,000 emails destroyed. So on a more serious note, it's been downgraded. I don't even know if it's going to even be rated as a tropical storm, but it is going to be an event that they are not prepared for. This is a little more current, showing location speed. Tomorrow morning, it should be down to 35-mile-per-hour winds sustained, and a tremendous amount of moisture with Hillary will be the biggest problem for Southern California. So I talked about that a little bit last night. I've got quite a bit of experience in dealing with natural disasters like hurricanes, and I think that washouts and flooding are going to be a big problem. But in the Gulf and along the eastern seaboard, states that don't normally get horrific rain at one time, like North Carolina, they were subject to mudslides, the interior of North Carolina, stuff like that. So we'll probably see a lot of that. These people that build houses on cliffside homes, You may see a lot of the loss of cliffside homes. Keep that in mind. But, it's all global warming. We know that. Here we have catastrophe, whale deaths linked to wind farms in new documentary. I showed some of the blades of these turbines. They're very difficult to recycle, to break down, to have a machine that can actually grind them up, to reuse them. They've got them stacked like cordwood because they're just so difficult to break down and recycle. And I even showed a video of one of them catching on fire. I had a video number of years back where two maintenance workers were stuck on top of one of those things when they caught on fire. It's terrible. Even if I find the video again, I don't believe I would replay it. But the maintenance is horrific on these things. The construction is very expensive. As I said, you can't even justify the amount of energy they produce over their lifetime, minus the maintenance costs and the cost to produce them. You can't even justify their existence. They're pissing our money away, okay, for this dream. And now you have these whales. The frequency of these wind farms is penetrating the ocean, the water, and confusing them, and they're ending up on beaches. That's exactly what's happening. And don't you know, it takes diesel motors to start those things turning. You have to consume quite a bit of diesel fuel to get them to crank up and get going. And they're also loaded with oil to keep, of course, the bearings and everything moving. So it's a canard, it's a farce, it's a mess. So people got to start waking up about that. Where did everybody drop off for? I don't know. I just keep going. They must have had a date. What is this? Biden's EPA plans to expand enforcement to tackle existential threat of climate change. I showed you that thumbnail from that video where a woman was facing fines because she had a window air conditioner. These tree-hugging, psychotic climate cultists, okay, and they all fall into the alphabet cult. All of them do. Very few exceptions. They're going to be passing laws and making people's lives miserable. You watch. I put up that thumbnail where Biden said he had practically declared a climate emergency. So they're going to do whatever it takes. They're feeling things out as to what's going to be the most effective way to suppress people in the upcoming selection. But anyway, folks, I didn't realize I'd gone over so far over an hour. And let me see. I'm going to try to close out. I will play Newt Gingrich as I go out, where he says what happened with this Fulton County courtroom, the charges they put against Trump. And I still maintain the lady in orange, the clerk, I think she hits that send button on purpose to give irrefutable proof that they were illegally leaking grand jury information. So don't be surprised if she's either white hat or was acting under white hat direction, but she irrefutably proved they were illegally leaking grand jury information. But anyway, folks, thank you for spending your precious time with me. I'm going to play Newt Gingrich describing what happened in the courthouse, and I'll be seeing you all soon. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And I have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description if you want to help the channel out. Thank you all, and let Mr. Gingrich finish up the broadcast. Thank you all. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
That I am told, this is hearsay, but I am told by a reliable source, that Friday evening somebody from Washington called the district attorney in Atlanta and said, you have to indict on Monday. We have to cover up all of the mistakes we just made with Weiss. And she said, apparently, my jurors aren't coming back till Tuesday. And they said, you didn't hear me. You have to indict on Monday. And she said, well, they're not going to get here before noon. They said, it doesn't matter. She said, this means it's going to be 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night. They said, it doesn't matter. We need the news media shifting.
Who made that phone call?
We don't know. And I'm telling you up front, this is hearsay, but it's from a person who has remarkably good sources.
I totally believe it, though, because that would explain why they leaked and they messed up on the clerk document, why she was exhausted, and why they had the 11 p.m. press conference, Mr. Speaker.